Wrapping it up from North KC, Kevin Keatsman back in the KCMO Talk Radio studios in Corporate Woods, joining us to wrap up the week as we do each and every Friday morning. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Good morning, Pete. Great to be with you. I did not know Pete meant rock. I heard you say that earlier today. Is that true?
Yes, it does.
Does everybody know that? Am I the only person that doesn't know that?
Great question.
I had
Let's
that
ask
one down.
Mark and John. Did
I
you
learned
guys
that in
know
Bible
that?
studies, actually.
Yeah.
What? What's that?
Learned that in Bible studies.
Really?
I had at Baker minor in religion.
Okay.
Accidentally, I just took a lot of classes, and then my senior year, they go, "Hey, you need 2 more classes." I'm like, "Okay, can do."
Here's a Bible. Read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And now look at John all these years later putting that Bible to use.
Don't
right,
do
John?
drugs, kids.
I don't know what Kevin means, but my last name Keatsman is Keats is a red light district in Hamburg, Germany.
Oh, gosh, there is, and I noticed this being in Oklahoma too, the amount of German-blooded people in this part of the world was a major surprise.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's, it is even deeper, I think, down there. But, man, it runs pretty darn deep around here, too.
Well, my mom and dad were from Paxico and Alma, Kansas, and all those small towns there are all German. Not the smartest people in the world. They came to this country to farm potatoes, and that didn't work out very well where they moved. So they're like, we're going to have to get to Idaho if we're going to do this. And so they wound up basically being, dirt farmers. And potatoes won't grow here.
What year did your family get to the country?
This is a really good question. It was the late 1800s, I believe, maybe like the 1880s or something like that. So, it's been about 150 years, I would guess. My brother has done some work on that. I haven't followed it very closely, and I really don't have any inclination to go to Germany and see where they were from or anything like that. I just don't have that pull. We were raised American, man. This is it for me.
It's interesting you say that because my dad loves this stuff, and I really I don't. Maybe it'll change when I get older. I could see that happening, but I also think with each passing generation, viewing yourself as more of an American than anything else. He loves, tracing his ancestry back to Italy, and I get it. He's second-generation American, but for a lot of these folks, and I'm with you, it's like, man, the further and further away you get, the less you seemingly care. And I'm not saying that's right. It's just, I think, human nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think a lot of these people coming in now are different than the immigrants that we had. And I don't like to use the word immigrant or migrant because so many of them are illegal and they are technically just aliens. They're from another place. They don't belong here. They come in and they wave the flag of their other country and they have no intention of assimilating. They really don't. They want the economy of America. They want to be paid like an American, but they don't want to invest in the country and give back and do what it is that Americans do, that we feel our duty is. And that really is troublesome. I don't know how a lot of these people, if they do become citizens at some point, if there is some sort of mass amnesty, I don't know that they ever forget their old country. I don't think they'll ever become real Americans. I don't think they're interested in being real Americans.
Well, I would say this. You've seen, well, first off, I thought of a story that I've told before on the air. My grandpa, when he was a kid in Staten Island, New York, this would have been the 1930s probably, his mother spoke to him in public in Italian at a grocery store, and he ran home in shame because she was not speaking English. That is the antithesis of what we get today in large part, right?
Yeah, completely.
But to your point, Kevin, I don't know what the future holds because look at the last election. Look at the shift in the Latino vote. I mean, these are now Donald Trump voters. So I think coming to America, and I'm not suggesting people should come illegally and that's going to turn into Trump voters or Republicans or anything like that, but it is interesting how we've seen that major shift. And one of the reasons that the Democratic Party was so open to mass immigration is because they thought it would be their voters. And it's actually turning out that's not the case.
No, and like people that came from Germany, we don't have German accents. That eventually goes away. But I'm not sure that's going to happen in today's America with people that speak Spanish and come here. I feel like they're going to be bilingual for generations, that it's going to be passed down. We didn't do that. I mean, I know a lot, I've got friends that are Irish. They don't have an Irish accent. That's long gone. It's been 150 years. They're born here. They still celebrate St. Patrick's Day and say, hey, my ancestors were from Ireland or whatever, but they don't have an Irish accent. Or there are very few, there's more in the Northeast, I know, Italian accents and things like that. But maybe that's just the way people talk in Jersey. I don't really know. I just don't know how, if people are wanting to be bilingual, as you said, the culture before was drop the language that I know, learn this one and forget the other one and teach only the new one to my kids. And I don't think we have that today.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think those accents, Northeast and whatnot, Southern accents, I mean, those are more geographic to those locations in America than they are Italian, Irish, right? Anything like that. But we'll have to see. It's going to be fascinating because the country obviously is, even without Joe Biden's disastrous 4 years, it was obviously shifting demographically. More importantly, how was Eric Church last night? Did you get stuck in these thunderstorms or no? Did you do okay?
It was great. We had a podcast event yesterday with some listeners, gave away some T-shirts in the Northland, and so we were going to be running late no matter what. We were just in it for Eric Church. By the time we got there, the gates had reopened after the delay. We didn't really care that much about Ashley McBryde, so we waited in the parking lot a little bit for the line to get down because everybody went up there at one time to get back in. We waited that out. We saw the show. It was the strangest show I've ever been to. So he was pinch hitting for Luke Bryan, and he just walks out on stage with his guitar and says, Luke's a friend of mine. I owe him a favor. 48 hours ago, I was in the mountains in North Carolina with my family for 10 days worth of vacation, and here I am. I brought my guitar. In a little bit, Joe, who's a woman, I'm going to bring her out as my backup singer. There was no band. It was Eric Church with a guitar and his sidekick, this lady that can really sing. And there was no highs. I mean, the whole concert was just acoustic. It was him and his guitar. And, you go to a concert and there's highs and lows. It's like riding a roller coaster. He gets about a third of the way through, Pete, and he goes, this is the part where I really wish I had a drummer behind me and some electric guitars, man, because I'm ready to rock. And he just can't. He just couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it.
Oh, man. Well, we're out of time because there's a lot more I want to ask about that show. So you've got to now share it on Uncanceled coming up, my man. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, buddy. Good show today.
All right, I appreciate that. Kevin Kietzman, Uncanceled, is coming up next. Have a great weekend. Thank you to the men and women of the North Kansas City Police Department for having us out here for our 10th Back the Blue tour stop. We'll have another one in September, and we'll be back on Monday morning.